This is amazing. At Wake Forest University, also in Los Angeles, they took a mouse, trained the mouse to sip water, recorded the memory in the hippocampus right here, small organ that processes memory. The mouse later forgot that. Then they shot the memory back into the mouse, and bingo, the mouse got it the first try. Next will be primates.
So another dark topic, mind control. And I'm sure there have been other speakers that talk about this. But this is a problem. We all love our privacy. We all love our sense of free will. And I do strongly say it's just a sense of autonomy. You're always, unless you're in a sensory deprivation chamber, you are always getting other influences that your mind is reacting to.
Whatever catastrophes happen, even if they are with big earthquakes, so elite of course has their underground bases in all countries, and even I in my position I know where I was when I was in office, where I would go in an underground base. I had my bed there, and there was a telephone, there was a table, so they are all prepared, and about 60% of people only get if there would be a war or something physically, they have a place to go to when attacks come. The rest is calculated to go away, I mean to leave their bodies. So that's going to be a big upheaval. But the elite plans that they can go to the underground bases and they will be okay. But these are very hard things to understand for people who are in the zombified state and who just go to work and look at television and read the newspaper and go to bed.
But talking about underground bases, and also in Norway there's been a lot going on. I sense in a way that if you go underground, you don't come up again. And I sense I stay on top of ground and face sun or whatever is coming. And if it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. Otherwise, portals are open for the ones who stay pure and who stay true. Because it's so perverted. Yeah, okay, if you go underground, you just have to have the chip, because we need to make sure that we know who's underground. I see it all as it's their fear game, and they're talking about a planet coming that will destroy everything, and then I say, I just believe in some other intelligent forces in this universe, and not the ones creating all this fear-mongering on the internet or.
But I also think that we cannot think that somebody else is coming to save us, because what we have created, we have to save. So we can't expect somebody to, clean up for us. No. It could be that their plans will not succeed. It could be that what they think is going to happen and what they can do, there are higher forces in the universe anyway, which don't directly have to interfere. But
they also use it for sampling the population, for predictions of mass influence. So what if we say this on television, as a policymaker in your government, how will the population respond? What other words can we use? And so it's a way of testing and polling the population without them even being aware that that's happening. But my favorite is accelerated education. I spent so many years in school, and probably a third of my life. Imagine that you can pay for a system that clones your professor's ideas and thoughts quickly, eliminating all the errors of thoughts and et cetera. I mean, that's a huge boost to the economy, because we spend so much money on education. But is that mind control? You got to ask yourself, is education mind control? It's a way to teach people how to think. Is it mind control? And these are ethics and morals that you're going to have to determine for yourself. So I was talking a little bit about mind control in particular, and something that I worked on that I'm not proud of, but it's called the Voice of God weapon. So there are 4 different techniques and technologies that can pipe voices into an individual's head. And once you can do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War to tell the enemy at that time, lay down your guns, this is Allah. And it worked pretty well, because hearing voices which have no direction or sound, you have to assume that it's some spiritual entity. So it works pretty well. And then, I don't know if I'm going to get into this, but there's something called hyper game theory. How do you, they want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program even. And they need to sample all cultures, language, throughout the world to define their probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. That's just what's happening. All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about the definition of intelligence. And, you know, I've argued this and debated this since I was young. And I really couldn't come up with any good definitions. I like to think it's some form of self-awareness or reasoning, logic, and memory that's kind of more standard IQ tests. Maybe it's a capacity for empathy, because I know a lot of people that can't empathize. It means you don't have enough life experience to put yourself in that person's shoes. But artificial intelligence uses a stricter test, slightly stricter. They determine if it is truly self-aware, if they can fool a human being for an hour talking to an artificial intelligence program. And so that test has stood up for a long time. They're way past that now, but you won't hear about that in the regular news. So really, what I think is amazing, and I'm going to put a positive spin on this, is we're starting to mix and reconfigure minds as partially human and partially AI. And those are the experiments that are being tested on some of the public. They're often called emergent minds. And they're completely alien to this planet. The planet's never seen this before, but we're creating them. It's sort of like genetic engineering. We're mixing genes up. New species are going to arise from that. How do you define it? How do you classify it? So when thinking about intelligence, I started thinking about the SETI project, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And that is like breaking encryption. So I look at it from the military point of view, signal intelligence. How do you know some source out in the universe that you're scanning is intelligent? Maybe it's a quasar star, maybe. And so you have to just say it's an abnormal signal. Let's try to decipher it. So it's really like encryption. And that's what intelligence is a complicated signal. All right, so let's get into how do you do this? How do you do this between human beings? Now, there's the age-old way of hooking a human being up to many probes. It's called EEG, electroencephalograph, and reading and deciphering the brain waves as they are created within the scalp. It's just an electromagnetic field. You can also do it with infrared. And There are a lot of neat inventions that have come of this. I mean, I made one invention that you can create music with your mind, with your thoughts alone. It was only 8-octave scale. You can move robots. Once you train your brain with robot, you can move robots. They have video games out now. You can play video games with thought processes alone that use this basic technology. Things have come a long way. And now we have, which are magnetically activated nanoparticles and sensors. So how do you control the brain? Most people don't believe that. Oh, you can't control me. I have my own free will. There's no way you can get to my soul. Well, sorry, that's not true. So these nanoparticles are activated under certain magnetic frequency.
Mind machines are another phenomenon which evolved from cyberpunk culture. These machines directly manipulate the brain's EEG signature by the imposition of brain-friendly wavelengths. Repeated use is alleged to make the user permanently smarter, calmer, and more alert. Some say this is nothing so much as electronic drugs, but if so, then a drug suitable for the
When DC fell, I was on that first boat that fled to Cuba. It's funny when you think about it. Us taking a raft there. You know, our old boss was on that boat. Randall Flynn. And now, I'm the president's senior science advisor. Who would have thought?
It's very impressive.
I have a confession to make. I'm the one who sent it out. I'd like to pick your brain about the nanotech. You don't have to play coy. I know all about it. It's genius work, Doctor. Da Vinci work.
We ruined the world.
It doesn't make it any less genius. Learn to take a compliment. Couple quadrillion machines. All around us, inside us. We could just program them, control them. Possibilities are endless.
Such as?
Well, for starters, we could do a lot more than flip the lights off. 2 of our men burst into flames just outside of Willoughby. That's why I'm here.
I don't understand.
You don't. Your nanites absorb electricity. I wonder if they could have been modified to release it.
That's impossible.
You know, I'm not the genius that you are. Help me understand. In this town and nowhere else, nanites have been acting strangely, to say the least. And here you are, in this same town. It's quite a coincidence, wouldn't you say?
I'm not sure what you're asking. But whatever this is, I'm not doing it.